everyone. Welcome inside the Faith Loop. It is Wednesday, December 17th, the year of our Lord, 5786. Excuse me. Day 2,112,000, right, Drew? Thank you. I always like to confirm. 323 of the crisis of identity. The identity crisis of man is, I think, reaching that apex as it was in the days of Noah. Because that's what Jesus said when they asked him for the signs of the end of the times. And I think Dad's done some pretty masterful work on this, Matthew 24, and breaking it down. People, there have been different ideas and thoughts on Matthew 24. But he talks about the destruction of the temple. And he does say something about the end times and when his return will be. And he said it'll be as in the days of Noah, where they will be eating and drinking and marrying and given in marriage until the ark was shut up. And I've thought a lot about that. And I've come to the conclusion, because Jesus also said in this, there's no sign given to this adulterous generation. There's no sign of a covenant. He was talking to the people of Israel. What's a sign? We're always looking for a sign. Signs. Paul even said it when he's talking to believers in Corinth, writing. He says, Jews look for a sign, and Greeks love their philosophy, their wisdom.
Yep.
And we preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block to the Jew and foolishness to the Gentile. And I think more and more we see these things in the apathy of the mind, the looking to the strength of man-made intelligence. And we're in the season again. And I hear everybody, it's Christmas, and the arguments for years about, what do you say, how do you say this and that and whatnot, I think is all pretty much foolishness. The significance of life, I still believe, is something that I don't know if we really understand the significance or the seriousness of it, Dan.
Good question.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and I know people go, well, yeah, sure, we take. It's hard, I think, for us to quantify what we believe. And I think, and what I've seen through history, that has always been, or not always, but has in most societies, and it really doesn't matter even the beliefs systems about gods or God, or how do we quantify life? Quantifying quality. What are we doing? Mm-hmm. We're sitting here in the studio, and we have a window in front of us, and I think about this quite a bit. I see cars coming, going. It's a 9 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, and I think where's everybody going? No different than me. Drove here, doing what we're doing. But what significance does this hold? And I think this is the hardest thing for people to grasp. And I think this is where I'm seeing more signs of this within studies being shown, people losing purpose, the decline, suicide on their, especially in young males.
Yeah.
Why? Our minds, the word, there's a portion, there's some said where their hearts will fail them for fear. Well, biblical narrative, heart is the center of the being, the thought, everything, which is the mind, not you don't think with this. No matter what anybody tells you, don't let somebody tell you that your heart in the center where it's pumping blood thinks. It doesn't.
No.
This thinks. And there are Christians out there that will tell you that. I've seen the science says it. Trying to quantify things always.
What science?
Yeah. So the mind is failing us for fear. And I'm not talking about scared. No. It's a terrorism of the mind that you're listening to everything around you. And where is any kind of expectation or of life or this understanding that we have in anything? And I think that's I think that's happening. I think that's exactly what's going on and what Jesus said.
Well, to your point, I was coming in this morning. I was listening to a radio talk show guy, and he was going on and on about the situation the United States is in right now, and not only the U.S. but the world.
Sure, Bob.
Yeah. And he was talking about he thinks that the United States is collapsing.
Yeah.
It's being torn down. Mm-hmm. And if you look, it's being, they're terribly divided. I mean, it's not just division in maybe I disagree on that idea or no, they hate each other. They do.
Yeah,
they literally hate each other. And they try to destroy each other for power. And that's all it's about, is power. I don't care what anybody says. It's just about power. Yeah. They could care less about you or me or anybody else. It's about power over people. Yeah. And when that happens, it will destroy. But as Brian was saying, see, nobody is not feeling this to a point. Now, some aren't as bad as others, but some people are in terror. Okay, where's the only safe place? The only safe place is when you understand you belong to another kingdom. And you understand that life is not given by the United States government or any other government in the world. It's not given by people or programs or things. It's given by Jehovah himself. And if you understand that and you walk in his kingdom, then the terror of the kingdoms of the world don't affect us.
That's a good point.
They shouldn't affect us.
They shouldn't, right? Yeah.
I mean, if we're really truly believers, if we actually believe that Jehovah's in charge, Israel had those problems, even when the Lord would tell them that they were going to win, sometimes they still, had problems in doing what the Lord told them to do. When they did it, there was no problem at all. Here's Gideon. He's behind the press, and he's getting a little food, crumbs that fall off of it, and and the Lord speaks to him and says, "Gideon, O mighty man of valor." I imagine that floored him. mighty man of valor, I'm over here behind the wine press hiding, trying to get steal a little grain here, and you tell me I'm a mighty man of valor? Well, see, the way the Lord looks at things is different than us.
Yeah.
And the difficulty is we have a hard time understanding that. How does the Lord look at me? How does Jehovah look at me?
And this to the point of our discussion. See, these are the 2 points of this. See, there was a point in time where a group of people who were heirs to a promise.
Mm-hmm.
This is before the instructions of Moses.
Yep.
This is before. I always find it fascinating. One of the things that is very, very interesting to me, you know, we talk about the sacrificial systems of Judaism and what it was. But there was a lot of, most cultures in that day did what we call sacrifice.
Oh, yeah, they did.
We don't really understand the cultural context of most of it.
No.
Very little, in my estimation, because today we don't even. But you know, we sacrifice animals every day in this country. Chicken, swine, cattle. It's done every day. It's a slaughter. That's what the word even means in the biblical narrative, to slaughter. So I always find it interesting that the people of Israel, the heir to the promise, Abraham and his sons, were not bound to a yearly Yom Kippur. I mean, the one who set it all in motion. Jehovah had done that. There was no festivals.
No.
None of these things.
No.
And yet, Abraham was Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob, Isaac before him. Why? They lapse into some apathy, satiated, stay in Egypt. The Lord rescues them, brings them to a mountain. And we today call this 10 Commandments. Mm-hmm. If you look at it from the Hebraic standpoint, it's 10 words or 10 utterances. And it isn't really just one word, is it? It is more of things that are said. Mm-hmm. I've been talking a lot about this over the past, because I wondered, I've always wondered, why did Jehovah bring them to the mountain? What was the purpose of this? They were in Egypt. We've discussed this. Dad just made mention of if we're in the kingdom of Jehovah, why are we looking to the kingdoms of men?
Yeah, for the answers.
It's a good point, right?
It is, absolutely is.
And it even says in the biblical narrative, if you look back, you could have a tendency to go back.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of what has happened throughout history. Jehovah has stepped in. The 10 utterances, he never got finished. They were never finished. And instead, and I think it's what he was actually doing with Moses the first time, and saw what had happened and knew that the minds of men were not where they needed to be, or where he believed that they would accept what he had to say. because all they knew was that terror. I say this, the minds of people will fail us because of what? Because we listen to the wrong things? Why would we believe that Jehovah would bring those people out to die? And we're looking at this in the second hand, but that's exactly what was said on numerous occasions.
It is.
Why'd you bring us out here just to die?
Yeah. Weren't there graves in Egypt?
Wasn't there food there?
Yeah. That's what they said.
Do we look at our cultural context in a similar fashion? The United States of America was supposed to be that land that God provided for us, that we can. Did you just bring us over here to die? Is it a similar fashion in a lot of respects? Because that's what we think. A lot of people fled Europe to, remove themselves from what had been happening over 1,000 years with crusades, with the Reformation and the wars and the fighting and just the
persecution,
just death overall, Dad.
Yeah. I've said this I don't know how many times to people. It boggles my mind. It really does. If you read what they call church history, which I don't think but a handful of people do, evidently, because nobody seems to know. Oh, they'll make mention of something, but do you really know what happened in depth? Do you know? Do you really understand what happened? When Constantine said, I saw this sign, by this sign, conquer, he wasn't kidding. And he went out and killed as many people as he could find to kill. And yet he was the first Christian emperor. 10 words. Thou shalt not commit murder. Okay. Well, it was war. No, it wasn't. They killed people because they disagreed with them. They killed people because they didn't follow their doctrine. That's murder. That's not war in the sense of war, being attacked by a nation and then trying to defend yourself. That's not what that is. This is going out and deliberately telling people, if you don't follow what we tell you, we're going to kill you. Now that's what, I don't know if Jesus was confused or what when he said, go into all the world and preach the gospel. Take a sword with you and kill them all if they don't agree with you. Is that what he said? Did he say, slaughter those people who will not accept what you tell them? Yeah. Is that what he said? Yeah. No, he just said, go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. He that believeth and is baptized shall be saved. He that believeth not shall be damned. But not damned by me or you or anybody else. They take these scriptures and they mess them up so bad. They have to stand before him. It's Jehovah's judgment, not mine. It's not mine to do.
To your point, too, Dad, we don't really understand why the Islamicists war against us.
Right. Oh, no.
They're still fighting the Crusaders.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. They're the children of Ishmael.
Because if you remember correctly, history, Pope Innocent, because the folks in Judea over there were crying for help because the marauders were taking this and that.
Yeah.
It was the first time most people didn't want to go.
Right.
Because it was against their belief about killing.
Right.
This is true. Go read this in history. Pope Innocent, I think it was Pope Innocent, pretty sure. The third, I think, just off the top of my head, wrote a papal bull saying it's a just, this is where the first time this was invoked, a just war. We were justified in going and killing these people. And this is what started, and they would crusade for Christ. It was a crusade, and the crusade started, and this has been the thought process still to this day in the Middle East. And we don't hear about that. All we hear is jihad, jihad. Yes. Yes. It is a holy war. Christianity and Islam.
Yeah.
That's the way they still see it.
Yeah.
Even though we don't.
No. And here's one of the greatest examples that I've thought about. Jesus comes. He's powerful. He's got all kinds of power. I mean, if you can just look at somebody and say something and it happens, if you can look at a storm and say, peace be still, and it stops, that's something other power. Okay. He tells Pilate, if I wanted to, I could call 12 legions of angels, and they would come and set me free.
Yeah.
Why didn't he do it? When they came to try to take him, and read it in the scripture, try to force him to be their king. This is what they accused him of. It was sedition, and he refused it. But they wanted him to be their king. Why? To sit on the throne of David and go whip the dickens out of Rome and get Rome out of the Holy Land, get Rome gone, defeat Rome. That was their whole thing. They wanted him to lead them in battle because they knew he had power. Never for a minute think that they didn't know who he was. They did know, and they killed him anyway. They knew who he was. They wanted him to be their king. And what did Jesus do? Well, okay, I'll write out this thing and we'll call this a just war and I'll lead you and we'll go whip Rome. Oh, how come he didn't do that? He could have, but he didn't. And I don't know that the Father would have even let him if he'd have tried. But nevertheless, he didn't do it.
No. It's not why I've come. That's what he said.
Who was he traded for? A rebel.
The seditionist.
The seditionist. A rebel. Barabbas. And they said, give us Barabbas. Well, right there you see their attitude.
Yeah.
He won't do it, so give us Barabbas. Because we know Barabbas is a rebel.
Yeah, he was a zealot.
Yeah, and he's going to fight.
Yeah.
So give us him. See, we don't even think about those kind of things. We don't think about
context. The
Right.
context.
Yeah, and why? What they were thinking. What were they thinking that day? Give us Barabbas and take him because he don't want to fight. He don't want to do nothing. He just wants to walk around and tell people they ought to get along with each other.
And this is to the point. Here we are. We spend all this energy in celebrating the birth, and we go through the genuflecting and the observance of days and festivals, which was never intended.
No.
And here we are doing exactly, in fact, what Jehovah said, I think, through Isaiah. And if you read that opening, it's all Jehovah saying, I'm through with the festivals. I'm through with your Sabbaths, your new moons. The blood of bulls and goats is a stench in my nostrils.
Yeah, read that first chapter of Isaiah.
I know we're not slaughtering animals, but our festivals and this and that, and we even have the term, the CEO, the Christmas and Easter only group, and these are the things. But what did Jesus come to do? This is the questions we don't ask. Why did Jehovah bring them to the mountain? And we only got 10 words. Jesus came to fulfill what the Father started that day at the mountain. That's what we don't read the biblical narrative with any real context. It's no different than anything else. It's the promise. And we especially in our culture today, dispensational theology is ruling everything, which it was terrible. It was just horrible. It's wrong. And here we sit and we look at these 10 words and we don't kill. Okay. Fantastic. Right. Well, I said this to Dad before we started. And it was interesting that Jesus is sitting on the side of a mountain. Mm-hmm. And it's the famous Sermon on the Mount. We love to do this nonsense and fail to recognize the significance. But what Jesus came to do was to finish or fulfill what the Father had started at the mountain, so that man could know what he was created to be. And even Jesus starts off, we call it the Beatitudes, how to be, your attitude of being. You all know it, blessed, and he goes through all of that. But I think it's interesting. The next thing he says, Dad talked about salt and light on Sunday. Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. But it's not by works. It's what Christianity tells us today, but this is what Jesus said, that they may see your good works. Well, what are those? What are they? What's the context? What is the meaning of this?
Yep.
But yet, no, it's not works. You can't work for it. You can't, it's Jesus in you. Okay? But you have to explain why then Jesus said, so that men can let your light shine before men, that men may see your good works. What works is he talking about? Goes on to say, and this is one of the things what I said about the mountain. Think not that I've come to destroy the instruction or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
Yep.
For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass away, not one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the instruction, till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do them and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say that except your righteousness shall exceed that of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. Well, what's the context of this? Then he goes right to, and I think these first parts, we got 10 utterances, 10 words, as I said. Paul said that the instruction of Moses was added because of transgression. Transgression is rebellion, revolt. This is what we see there. Did we really get the full instruction? The true instruction? The instruction of Moses had peace, had the truth in it, but yet it never was realized because of what men do. And I think it's a similar fashion. We relate these things in this way. We have the 10 words, which is what we call the foundation of Judeo-Christian ethics. But what does that mean? What is Judeo-Christian ethics? Where's the standard? Is it the commandments? Where's murder ceased? Where's adultery ceased? Where has covetousness ceased? Where has thievery ceased? You shall have no other God before me, or aside from me, or you shall have no other strength. I am the one who exists. Yahweh, Jehovah, however you pronounce it. It's what the word means, existence. I am existence. And your strength comes from me.
Yep, I am.
Do we believe that? Or what other strength are we running after?
Yep.
Where in the world, where in the cultures of mankind, and I say that cultures, do we see any of those things happening? Do not kill, do not, and that we set the one who exists in the place that is the author of our strength, of our being. Where do you see that in the world?
Don't know.
Let's think about it. You tell me, comment below. Where do you see that?
Yeah.
Where is it not happening?
Right.
You've heard it said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill, and whoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say to you that whosoever is angry with his brother shall be in danger of the judgment, and whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger of the council. If you're angry, therefore, if you bring a gift to the altar, and there remember that thy brother hath aught against thee. I'm reading in the King James. I don't know why, but I just kind of leave it there. Leave your gift there at the altar and go thy way. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer the gift. Reconciled. Isn't that how we're supposed to be with our Father? Reconciliation. What is it to conciliate? What is it to conciliate? And I talked about this in the 10 of words. We have these words, right? But are we reconciled to the Father? How do we reconcile? And what are the movements? You have all of this different mindset and all of these different things, Dad. There are many voices. How does any one individual, how do we come to this? Where is conviction? How do we come to conviction? I know that the gospel, the good news, is one thing, but understanding this, lust, you've heard that it was said by them of old that shall not commit adultery. Whoever looks at a woman to lust after her has committed adultery with her already in his mind. This is something that there isn't a dude alive, I think, that hasn't went, right? Why? Why do we do that? That's what committing adultery. What do you mean? Well, but that woman isn't married. Why not? That's okay then. No. Why do we lust? Do not commit adultery. What is it? What is adultery? We've talked about this. This goes to a deeper thought process. All of these things. I'm not going to get into too much of this, but I want you to think about these things. Divorce, similar to adultery. Oaths, Jesus talks about. Don't swear. I swear. We did this. I swear to God. Well, how? Then you're a liar. Don't bear false testimony. We talk about this. This is what it just dawned on me what that's about. Oaths. That's testament. That's testimony. Don't bear false witness against your brother. Well, I swear. This is how do we know? Is your who are you as a person? Can we trust what you say? You don't have to make an oath. You don't have to do these things. We know by who you are that your word is true. Retaliation, loving your enemies. Well, there's a hard one. We've always talked about that. And into the 6th chapter, giving to the needy. The Lord's Prayer. We discuss this all the time. People just repeat that as a diatribe or a chant almost. Mm-hmm. It's never what it was meant to be. And this is another one here. For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. Well, how do I have the power to forgive men? They asked that of Jesus, because Jesus, one day there's a man that was crippled. And he said, heal him. And he says, your sins be forgiven you. And they all looked at him and said, wait a minute. How do you can't do that? And he says, so that you understand that the Son of Man has power to forgive sins, get up and walk. And the man did. Yep. So what does this mean? There's all kinds of things out here that we have taken way out of context, in my opinion, Dad. And this is just a snippet of this. I mean, just a very small sample of the 10 words and what Jehovah had come to the mountain for. And because we wouldn't accept it and we kept on and kept on, he sent Jesus. This is the significance of the birth of Jesus, is to fulfill the instruction and the prophets, to bring it into its wholeness and completeness. And I don't think we think about that or celebrate that at all to a great degree.
No. You know, one of the things that Israel did that really got them in bad stead with Jehovah was their idols.
Yeah.
We don't have any idols in this country. Right? On the news this morning, they were showing a yard of a house that had a huge balloon Santa Claus in the yard. A thing, I forget now how many feet tall it was, but it was way up there. Big. I never saw anything that big. I've seen some big balloons, but that took the cake. It was huge. And everybody's out there, oh, look at this, oh, isn't this great, isn't this fun, you know? Okay. Well, yeah, but you know, that's just for the kiddies. Okay. And we don't pray to it, we don't bow down to it, we don't. The post office, every year about this time, gets, I don't know how many letters, thousands and thousands of letters to something that doesn't exist. Oh, my wife put on here 28 feet high. It's wow. 28 feet high.
No kidding.
Yeah. My wife and I was watching a movie. It's one of the Christmas movies, and here's this little girl, and she's praying, and she had lost her mother, and she lost her mother and father, and she's staying with her uncle. Well, she's praying for her uncle to maybe find somebody for him and so forth. Okay, and for her to be able to stay with him. She gets on her knees, and you know what she says? I told my wife at the time, I said, listen to that. She says, Santa, I think this is too big for you, so I'm going right to him. And we don't pray to idols.
Yeah.
We don't ask something that doesn't exist, that doesn't breathe, that doesn't live, can't move. No, we don't ask them nothing, do we? And what do we tell our children? Jesus is going to help them. Jesus is going to bless them. Jesus is the one. Jesus is the giver of life. Do we tell them that? No. No, we tell them stories about somebody that doesn't exist, about a bunny that lays eggs.
Man, you zipped right over to April.
And we don't have any idols in this country. And you know, what's really interesting is it's always associated with a so-called Christian holiday.
Yeah.
Especially Easter and Christmas, two of the most hallowed Christian celebrations there is.
It's the two most hallowed holy days.
Yes.
Within Western civilization.
Absolutely.
Let's put it that way.
And yet it is shared with a non-existent being.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Israel did. And we think we're going to get by with it. They didn't get by with it.
Let me add this to this. Drew, you can throw this up there. If you find one, you can put it up. If not, don't sweat it. Our nation's, this nation's capital, right?
Yeah.
We have a few.
Just a few, yeah.
And I think people go, well, we don't. This and that's not what it's about. I don't know how many of you have ever been to the Lincoln Memorial, but this is what it says above the statue, this graven image,
Sitting in a chair.
carved of stone. Wait a minute. I'm going to do something real quick. I'm just curious, okay? And God spoke these words saying, I, the one who exists, your strength, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, thou shalt have no other strength except mine. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting, watching for the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the Lord thy name of the Lord thy God in vain, and the Lord will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. All right. In this temple, this is what's etched in the stone above his head. In this temple, as in the hearts of the people, for whom he saved the Union. The memory of Abraham Lincoln is enshrined forever. Graven images, we don't bow down to this? Yes, we do. Because we don't necessarily walk up and prostrate ourselves, but we definitely walk over there and give our minds an assent to our minds in this way, which is true homage and prostration. Giving your mind to that. I don't know what else that is.
Yeah. And he did it by fighting one of the most bloody wars that the United States has ever fought.
Yeah, and broke as many laws as he could
Yeah.
on the way.
Oh, yeah. Congress didn't mean nothing to him. He didn't pay any attention to Congress.
It's amazing.
Took away habeas corpus.
But it was in order to save the Union.
Save the Union. And it wasn't about slavery, folks.
And here's the thing. What Union? We still hate each other.
Well, here's the thing. With liberty and justice for all. Well, the southern
Except the
states.
black people, except the Chinese,
Right.
except the Irish.
But if the southern states wanted to withdraw, didn't they have the right? They can secede from the Union.
Yeah.
He said, "No, you ain't doing it. I'll kill you first.
Yeah. Yes.
I'll kill you first."
So, what part of these things are we talking about? You know, if you have, you know, that's not murder, Brian. That's really? What is it?
What is it?
Do you really believe that people, let's look at the word liberty. Liberty means that you are at pleasure to do as you choose. That's the true meaning of the word. I don't think Mr. Lincoln believed that.
No.
Well, as a Christian, I have liberty. Really? You're at liberty. You're free to choose as you please, as to do as you please and what. No. See, we have all this messed up. There's so much that you can talk about and go into here. I don't know if there's any other comments there, Dad.
Just my wife.
Oh.
She made one.
But when you look at these things, do we understand what Jesus came and brought back? Do we take that model? Do we understand those? I don't hear too many people talk about the Beatitudes or any of that, except for when it comes to blessed is the poor in spirit. You know, we love to quote those things, but the rest of it kind of gets lost in the rubble, because it speaks definitely to the attitudes of men.
Yep.
And who we are and what we are and what Jehovah had come to the mountain to do and what Jesus did fulfill. We need to look at the context of these things. Quit worrying about the festivals and the days and Sabbaths and understand because Sabbath wasn't made for man, or man wasn't made for the Sabbath, but the Sabbath for man, because it was a matter of an understanding of, I want to show you who I am. And that's what he did that day when he breathed into man the breath of life. Mm-hmm. That's what it's all thought process. The whole basis of Sabbath is, I want to teach you who you are, your character, your nature. I've made you in my image and likeness. Do we celebrate that? Do we have an understanding of celebrating that? And can't we do that, and shouldn't we do that every day?
No, my wife just said, "Don't." I don't think that Jehovah didn't finish. He didn't finish because Israel lifted their hands and told him to stop talking.
No.
We'll listen to Moses. And Jehovah turned it over to Moses. Yeah, and they didn't listen to him.
Yeah. It's problematic all the way around.
Yeah, yeah.
10 words, 10 utterances is all we got out, but the fulfillment of that is in Jesus. And we need to look at his birth in a way that is meaningful and understanding and why he came. Not sitting in a manger somewhere, you know, and we go through the diatribes and the rituals and the festivals. And no. Let's look at the true meaning of why Jesus came. What it's about. To fulfill the instruction and the prophets. I didn't come to abolish these things. I came to fulfill them. We should focus on that. Let's focus on that. Put away the idolatry. Put away those things and focus on the truth. And if you really want to know, folks, history does not represent a December 25th birth date. And the other point, Jews never celebrated anniversaries of birth. They just never did. It wasn't important to them, for crying out loud. It was never really important in the ancient world. That's why you don't really know how old these men are. That's the problem, Dad. We don't. Most people believe that he was maybe either born in the spring of the year or the fall, because that's when the shepherds were out tending the sheep. In the cold months in December in the mountains, they weren't out. They weren't out tending the flocks in that time of year. They were in
Put 'em a
pens.
sheep coat.
Falterall. But yet we'll forego context and truth for the festival and our own ideas of things.
Pretty much.
I'll tell you what, folks. We're finishing up. This is the last one of the year. We're taking a couple weeks off.
Yep.
As we head to that, it's not about, celebration or this, that. We're going to be here on Sunday. We'll be doing our things. But it's just a little vacation time before we head into the first of the year.
Yeah.
And we do spend time with our families because it's easy to do at this time of year because nobody's working.
Sure, everybody comes together and we have a good time. Yeah. You do it too,
You should.
Yeah.
There's good. It should spend time with your family, but you should spend time with your family at any time. But this is the last Inside the Faith Loop of the year. We're going on vacation, and we will see you in January. We hope that the Lord keeps you and set your mind in the good news, because the good news is that our Father in heaven has created us in his image and likeness.
Yes, amen.
He created us eternal in life, in truth. And we have Jesus. We have a standard by which we can follow. And these good works are about that life and representing that life in the earth. We should focus on those things. You can be perfect. You can be complete in mind, breath, and body. You can be. You don't have to stay broken. Repent. The kingdom of heaven is at hand.
Amen.
We love you. We care about you. May the Lord keep you in everything you do. Have a great day in the Lord. Always remember to give love
And give life.
and give Jesus.